And we are live. You are tuning into session 2 of the Shadows of the Ancients campaign, Convokers, which I am running. My name is Tyler Hurst from the channel on Roll. Like I said, this is session 2, titled The Pale Hunter. Go ahead and turn over the time to Chris for the recap of last session.
All right. Last session, session 1, we kicked it off in the convocation base of Glaspool, where us as just basically blossoming initiates of these convokers were in base training, going through a regular day of routine drills when our commander Martinen, I believe was her name, sent us over to a wing commander, Gadriel Thane. From there, we learned that there was weird rumors from Dakta, a small swamp village where things have been seen in the mist and people have been going missing. So we went there to investigate said mysteries, riding out on river bears. Upon arriving at Dakta, we didn't receive the warmest of welcomes. I guess the convocation over the 10 years, the altercation with the convokers and all that from past hasn't really given the convocation the most blossoming of reputations now. But nonetheless, we heard that a fisherman by the name of Olbin had seen weird mistmen, giants, in the Fet, which is this dangerous swamp on the outskirts of Dakta. We persuaded him to ride us out on one of the skimmers, a boat that basically makes no waves or sounds, that lets them navigate these swamplands without coming in contact with these sissy lizards, as our dwarf companion and connoisseur of alcohol promptly named them. Upon going out into the Fet, we did not find any mistmen, but we came across a ruin of sorts, a rock that had ancient magical powers in some way imbued upon them. And as the group tried their best, even Sebastian, my character, doing an identify, the only thing that we could find out is that the magic was old and that it told a tale that we could not comprehend. No mistman being found and no really way to determine what this rock actually did. We took a couple notes, were attacked by a snake, where it merely gave me a sting on the leg, which practically crippled my character, but we'll forget about that. We'll forgive Ty. And we rode back to our base in Glaspool. We made our reports and got promptly put on double duty, guard duty. We were supposed to watch the walls because some of the recruits have been going missing out on patrols, so they were short. The night got a little more eventful from there as Brif and Fulgrim on their watch were bombarded by giant rocks thrown at us like hail, our base promptly being destroyed and chaos ensuing. We fell under attack from, I believe, a mixture of things, but most importantly, what we faced off as with orcs, and the base being overthrown by these hundreds, perhaps even thousands of foes in the night. We were left with no choice but to run. We had, I believe the name is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ty, but Professor Emran, who was with us.
Gray. Yeah.
Emran Gray, and he apparently knew something about this magic, but needed to study it more, the thing that we found in the ruins. So he was with us, and we were promptly retreating. We got attacked by some orcs, and Sebastian easily killed them all by himself, but in reality actually got knocked down, and I believe that Darius also fell down, and Sebastian even took down Brif momentarily with his mighty attack. The party being pretty much in absolute chaos and anarchy, we fled on river bears back to, I believe, Dakta, where we once again bumped into Olbin, and luckily for us, he took us into his house as Sebastian Willicker, my character, slowly bled out from an internal injury, and Darius not in too much better shape. I think that's about it.
And that would be it. But as torches flicker and burn in the night, and Glaspool burns on the swamp behind you, we switch to a different fire within the hearth of the Wayward Wanderer. There, Taran Darkwind takes a long draught of ale and leans forward again as the kids eagerly stare up at him, waiting to hear the rest of the story. Well, they found their way back to Dakta, that is for certain. And there they needed to recover. With the professor in tow, and with secrets around. Thus began the tale. And thus began the war of the reclamation. We shift again back into a small hovel lifted on stilts just out of the water, out of the brackish swamp beneath you. But beneath this little hovel, it is larger than it seems, a smuggler's hole. And in there, beneath this shack, you all rest. You can hear the footsteps of Olbin above you. The door opens, he leaves, and shuts it behind him. Couple of cracks and holes in the side of this smuggler's hole show you scenes of the town around you. Large parties holding torches, walking through the city. They must have found the river bears. But your party is not in the best of shape. Two of you lie wounded and unconscious. The skin around the chest and stomach of Sebastian is mottled purple and black. And Darius, his side has started to swell with blood, as the internal damage is much greater than you had originally foreseen. But as we look down upon this group, hiding in the darkness, surrounded by barrels of rotweed and other mildly illicit substances, we see for a moment, well, Sebastian, you see another sort of burning. As a town before you is sacked by raiders, like vault raiders. And you're there again, Sebastian. What are you doing? What are you doing in your unconscious dreams?
Sebastian is there and he's reliving it, but he's not a small child this time. For some reason, he's his current self. He knows it can't be true. He lived this years ago, even decades. He looks around as he smells wood burning. He looks to the fields where farmers farmed wheat and sees it in embers. He even sees the bar sign, a pint with a stick of wheat going through it, the local bar of Brif in flames. He's looking around anxiously for his mother, even calling her name. But she's not answering. She's not there. He runs around as raiders run through the fields, hundreds of them, killing without even a hesitation. The men, the women, even the children. It's horror as he relives this moment, not being able to escape from it. He just over and over again says, I gotta run. This isn't right. No, not again. And then he coughs deeply as in actual present world, a big mouthful of blood comes out.
And you try to run. You try to escape this horror of your past, to escape this nightmare. But it's almost as if your feet are glued to the ground. It's almost as if around your legs, great millstones have been tied. And you just watch as the wheat field around you burns and changes from its glorious gold to a crimson red and a black. And you watch, after these people have been cut down, they slowly stand back to their feet, eyes dead, and they look at you. And they all start whispering, weak, weak. Weak.
In this dream, Willicker falls to his knees. He starts sobbing, and he says, I know I'm weak. And then he just yells it, I know! And then another cough of blood. And the last thing he murmurs to himself, I imagine Fulgrim nearby. He murmurs, Mother, I'm sorry. And then deep breaths as he is very troubled, even breathing in this current state that he's in.
And Fulgrim, you'd hear that. Sitting next to Sebastian, looking down at him, cold rag over his head, trying to keep the fever down. You hear him whisper, Mother, I'm sorry. And then his eyes flutter as he whispers one last time, I'm weak.
It's not your mother you should be apologizing to, lad. It's me. You're getting yourself beat up so bad. He gives him a gentle just tap on the shoulder, sort of trying to reassure him in his dream. He looks around to the other two companions, Darius, and how are they doing?
Darius, how are you doing?
Darius does not look good. Unless he received some kind of medical treatment while he was unconscious during the slight interval of time when they were settling down the shack. There's just large fissure in his armor that sort of caves into his wound. It may have maybe healed just slightly, but you can see that there's something broken in his side. He just does not look good. In no way, shape, or form could anything that he is right now be described as good.
Yeah, Fulgrim just. We need to stay here, but we can't stay here. Brif, you alive, man?
Yeah, I'm doing alright. He kind of says this as he looks through these containers of illicit goods, trying to see if he can find anything that looks good, then useful. Maybe, taking one or two things and slipping it into his pack. When you get going, where we can't do like this. Either of you know how to some?
Wait, what? You cut out for me. What did you say? Sorry.
Brif asked if either you or the scholar that's with us know any way of getting them on their feet so we can leave.
Not much will do for these guys except rest. I'm not a. I don't know much healing. I'm not. That's not what my god does. Just have to sit and wait.
Emrin would look up from the corner, the professor. Most of my supplies were left at the labs. I don't have much of anything, really, besides what I'm wearing and what I have in my satchel, but most of that isn't good for healing.
Kind of hearing him say that, the doctor or professor. Let me scroll down so I can actually read his name. He doesn't have any of the useful stuff. Brif would kind of grab some random sack of in here, and throw it at him. It's like, why don't you look around, try to find something useful. Something here has to be of use.
Do you say that in kind of like a patronizing tone?
Yeah, kind of a patronizing tone, like, do something.
Yeah, everyone would kind of stand to his feet slowly and look at you and just shake his head. Unless you want them so drugged up on rotweed that they can barely even think. There really isn't much here. Although rotweed would take the edge off the pain, I can't really say for certain if they'd be able to do anything else besides stumble around.
I don't care what it takes, but we need to leave. It's only a matter of time before we get found or something happens. We need to get going.
Everybody roll me perception checks.
Even those who are indisposed at the moment.
Those who are indisposed, kind of like on the ground, roll a disadvantage. Because you two are kind of coming back to your senses, but you're still pretty messed up. Uh, 18 will do it. So your target number is a 15. You would hear a great chorus of shouts coming from somewhere near your location. It sounds like off to the left towards the docks. And flickering through kind of some of the cracks in this smuggler's hole, it's kind of like a little box built beneath the actual shack. You can see a gathering of torches at the docks.
Ah, shit. He mumbles to himself. We haven't got long. He's gonna just frantically just look at the injuries on Sebastian. I mean, you can probably tell that they're like internal if there's no like obvious like super bleeding.
Yeah, you can roll me medicine check for both Darius and Sebastian to determine what their ailments are.
I kind of just want to know if we move them, will they die? It's pretty much.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that's a 16.
Okay, with that, so you're for Sebastian, you know that as you kind of peel his mail back and his clothing and his leather, you would see the large gash left from this cut that the orc did to him. Though you managed to kind of like pack the wound and kind of make like a little poultice to cover it to seal it back up. You know that the darkening area around his skin and on his back, it hit a major organ with that cut, and he's bleeding on the inside somewhere. He wouldn't die from moving him. It would just make it bleed a little bit faster, and additionally, his life is. It's almost as if his life is trickling away slowly within him. As for the 6 on Darius, you can't really determine what's wrong with him. You know that it's something similar, though, to what has happened to Sebastian.
Brif, without aid, these they aren't going to survive. We're going to have to get them out. Does anyone know where the nearest town is? The nearest anywhere? He looks just to the scholar.
Emran would look up at you, and he would nod. The next one is Ravensport. probably maybe a day and a half travel in a boat. Unless you get a wayfinder, that is. They can take you through the quiet keeps, but that would cut the time in half. Although the quiet keeps are dangerous in the way I hear them. He would kind of stand up and walk over to the wall also to peer through the cracks and see what the commotion is on the docks.
Yeah, Fulgrim would follow over. Have a look.
And what you see as you look out at this gathering of torches, you see 4 large boats that approach the dock, and they are loaded with a myriad amount of soldiers. You see at the head of the first boat a pale-skinned orc who stands silently while everyone else, all the other orcs behind him, are kind of like bumping into each other and getting rowdy and kind of snarling and growling and sharpening their blades or whatever. All the people at the dock kind of like step away slowly as the boats reach the wood, and this pale orc steps off and seems to converse for a moment with them. The citizens kind of back off again and start retreating away, going back into the town as orcs pile off of these boats. And then, after the orcs, come a bunch of strange-looking elves, as you can see them. Their faces are kind of tattooed, though. And then following them, roll me a perception check, Fulgrim. Or history.
That is a 21 on perception.
Following these strange tattooed elves come about 20 or 30 dwarves. And you immediately recognize them as Stone Rift dwarves.
Oh, what are they doing working with them? Oh, jeez. Do I recognize any of their sort of their markings, like on their shields or hammers or axes?
You got a 21 on your perception or history, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me hurry and find this. Okay, you see they are carrying a banner with them. Well, rather it's kind of a crest emblazoned on the front of their chests. And what it is, it's a lightning bolt that's been split in half. And you don't know who these dwarves are, but you know that crest, that's not a crest from that's a Stone Rift. They're from Stone Rift, but that's not a crest you've ever seen before. There's not a crest of any noble house you know.
Do they look like they're like walking into town? And
yeah, it looks like they're taking up the search, taking over.
Interesting. Just are the docks sort of clearing a bit?
Yeah, a little, but all of these different troops are kind of like piling off onto the dock there. All the citizens have left now, and now it's just kind of these different troops filtering into the town. There look to be about maybe 40 total between the orcs, the elves, and the dwarves.
Yeah, we're pretty much going to have to wait for them to go. I kind of want to do Grand Theft Boat. I have to wait and see if they leave. He's just gonna sort of sit down near the crack so he can see through and just wait. There's not much he can do.
Yeah, as they kind of filter away from the docks, they kind of leave about 6 people behind, watching it, 2 from each group.
Sebastian starts to sit up, coming out of this daze, and as he does so, he just coughs horribly. And as he breathes, his breaths are like, they're like when you have a really bad cold and you can just hear that congestion in the person's lungs as they breathe, as there's just liquid and like basically like a rattle in your actual breath. And as he talks, it actually sounds like he lost his voice. He looks to you, Fulgrim, and he just, Brif! How's Brif?
Hearing him ask about me, I'd kind of walk over to him. It's like, hey, take it easy, man. I'm alright. And I'd slip him a small amount of this rotweed, knowing that it would kind of ease some of his feeling and stuff. It's like, here, this might help a little bit.
And as you feed it to him, he actually like grabs you and you momentarily like pushes it away. And as he grabs your wrist, he pulls you in and he just looks you in the face and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. As he realizes that he almost got you killed and it was completely and utterly his fault.
Hey, it's no different than the usual for you, alright? Besides, it's in the middle of a battle. It's kind of joking with how inept he tends to be at times, but also reassuring him. Brif continues to try and get him to take just a small amount of this, just to ease some of the pain.
He'll put it under his tongue, basically keeping it in his mouth. He doesn't want to swallow it because if you swallow rotweed, it does nasty things to your insides. But he keeps it under his tongue and lets it kind of dissolve as this almost muddy or greasy looking weed just starts to dissolve in his mouth, and his teeth actually turn this sickly black as it starts to disintegrate in his mouth, but it does make him feel momentarily better.
So it tastes like the fat left behind by grilling bacon. Like, and it's kind of that texture also, like really slimy, fatty.
I've tasted worse, I suppose. Tastes like bacon. He kind of tries to laugh.
And at this point, I think Darius sort of come to, and I think he'd be semi-lucid for the last maybe couple of minutes. And he just sort of slowly turn his head over to Sebastian and Brif, and he'd go, bacon sounds good right about now. What's happening, Fulgrim?
Hey, we gotta keep quiet. There's guards not too far from us. The whole place is crawling with them. Orcs, elves, dwarves, all working together.
Aren't we just the luckiest bunch? And he looks around again just to survey their surroundings and sort of almost like there's a shock through him, and he turns his head around a little faster as he's looking for his sword in his sheath and just wondering whether that's still there. And when he sees it maybe lying at his side, he sort of grabs at it and grimaces as he unintentionally maybe tears a bit of the wound, not enough to reopen it, but maybe just enough to be painful.
Yeah, as you kind of like sit up, you feel that ragged tear in your armor pressing into the cut. Apparently nobody has the medical training enough to rip or pull the chainmail links out of your skin.
And he kind of again sort of loudly grimace, trying to keep quiet, sort of biting, sort of just biting on his tongue to sort of keep himself quiet as he just maybe tries to undo a few straps here and there, try to maybe get some of the chain links out of his skin just so there's some momentary relief. But he definitely feels broken bones.
So to remove the chainmail links, either make me a sleight of hand, either sleight of hand, a medicine check, or one of those two. Sleight of hand or medicine.
I'll go with medicine.
Okay.
19.
Yeah, you're able to. I mean, it's easier being yourself. You know how they're kind of hooked into your skin. You're able to kind of like pull them out. It's almost like removing the fish hook from the edge of like a fish's mouth. You're able to like remove them one by one out of your skin, so they kind of just hang there now.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, he'll keep mostly quiet as he does so, sort of just surveying their immediate situation.
The pain is fairly excruciating, by the way.
He wouldn't say anything, but you would hear the occasional mutterance of a dwarven curse word, because no human curse word is appropriate.
You hear the door upstairs open and close again. And then Brif and Fulgrim and Emran, the established kind of like sign that is Olbin, you hear 3 stomps on the floor, almost as if he's cleaning his shoes off, followed by 1, 2. So you know that it's Olbin above you.
I imagine when I first hear the door open, I immediately like snap to, just grab one of my swords, and just to be ready if that door opens. I'm sticking this thing right in, whoever it is. It's him. I slowly ease down. Not completely, but enough that I'm not going to kill him if he comes in here immediately.
Yeah, you hear a whisper, "Convokers, it's me." And then the little section of flooring pulls up, and you see Olbin, this old man, crooked teeth, kind of browned from use of too much alcohol and tobacco over the years, mottled, kind of draped brown, gray hair hanging over his face, and a disorderly beard. "I'm coming down. Shh." And he kind of leans down over the edge, holds on, kind of swings down into the smuggler's hole before putting the piece back on. A big group just showed up into town. Maybe 40 people. They're looking for convokers.
And there's sort of look around and survey each and every one of you and go, almost jokingly, but you know he's not serious, but he goes, "I don't see any provokers." But he knows they're being, it's they they're referring to, but he still sort of says that offhandedly. Convokers.
We need to get out of here before they find us.
I couldn't agree more, and it's good to see that you're awake. But moving you will be difficult, especially you two. And he points to Darius, and he points to Sebastian.
I can move.
You can move, but you can't walk. I am assured of that, unless you have help.
I'm fine. Just give me. And he's looking around. Cloth, anything. I'll wrap myself up. I'm fine, I swear.
Kind of like look over at Emran. Say, "Don't play tough, boy. You're bleeding internally."
He kind of laughs, and as he does so, the laugh turns into another fit of a fit of cough. Sorry, and as he holds his mouth, he pulls it away, and blood kind of drips down on it, and he just kind of wipes it on his leg and tries to hide that fact. And he looks at him and says, "I'm the last person that's gonna play tough. Trust me in that, but we're sitting ducks here. We need to get the hell out of here. We need to get to Ravenport. Anywhere. Anywhere but here."
He would look at you as you're saying this. I know. The question is how. I could take you on my little boat, but they'll be faster than me. That I can assure you.
As they're talking, I'd probably peer out and see these larger, probably even faster boats that the soldiers came in on. And I kind of look at them with this grin plastered on my face, say those things are.
He would look over out the crack, kind of at these these half barges almost, and he'd say, "You tell me that you have the manpower to move one of those, especially with these two barely able to move." No, I don't think so. I don't think that stealing that is the answer.
Something over there. This is a fishing village, isn't it?
It is indeed. But as I said, a fishing village is much slower than a barge with 20 oarmen.
But your skimmer, it's much quieter than that. We've been on it. It doesn't make a noise. Listen, Olbin. If they find us, what do you think they're going to do to you?
I have prepared myself for that, my friend. I have a debt that I need to pay, though. I owe the Convokers more than simply you listening to me and believing my story. But that is a story for another time. The other problem is the path to Ravenport. They're going to have boats along it, and I don't fancy fighting. We either need to get the aid of a wayfinder to go through the quiet keeps, or we need to talk with the Vasti.
Would Darius at all be familiar with that term?
Anybody who frequents this village can roll a history check to see if they know who Devasti is.
Well, isn't that just freaking helpful? 13 total.
13 is enough, actually, to know who Devasti is. He's fairly reputable around these areas. Devasti is a very well-known merchant, but not a very well-known smuggler, because he keeps it very quiet. He is a white-furred tabaxi who frequents the floating marshes, which you were just barely in later in last session. He's known very well because of his large Kazran age kind of mechanical servant named Oak. But he is a very this quid pro quo type guy. Like, I'll do this for you, y'all scratch your back, you scratch mine.
All right. Has he had a history of being reliable, is what I'm wondering. Or...
He's reliable if you can pay or give him something that he wants. Or if you can pay him in a favor.
And we're going to look over at the scholar and go... As he turns around, he would again sort of inadvertently maybe one of his broken ribs kind of just rubbing against the inside of his flesh, just kind of painful sort of piercing feeling. And he goes,
"You think he could help here?"
Devasti is known for being reliable. That is for certain. Though the Wayfinder would be just as good a bet. I know one. She's reliable. But it'd be contacting her that'd be difficult.
What makes contacting her so difficult? She in the middle of the town with all the soldiers?
She's a wanderer. And doesn't stay in one place very often. I heard she's in town, but like I said, she moves around. Even in town, she doesn't like to stay tied down, as she calls it.
Now, I'm all for having a battle plan here, so to speak, but we don't exactly have an abundance of time, so I suggest we decide now or we're gonna be filleted alive.
I leave it up to you. You're the ones who have to go with this person. Do you wish to consort with the Vasti or to try and find this Wayfinder?
I'm a far cry from useful at the moment, so less potential pain, the better. Fulgrim, Brif, what do you think?
I'm not, Brif begins to talk. He'd kind of be unsure, but definitely heavily considering the option. I'm not sure, but I might maybe be able to sneak into town. Wayfinder. And as he says this, you notice that he's not wearing any of his insignia, so he looks more like a mercenary than one of the convokers. So he might be able to maybe slip in a bit more easily.
If that's what you intend, then he would look to Fulgrim and go, and what about you? Devasti or the Wayfinder?
Whatever will get us out of this shithole quick is good for me. Starting to get a headache. He sort of shakes his empty hip flask.
Dwarves remain charming as ever.
Olbin would kind of tap you on the shoulder and then point behind some barrels you haven't checked behind yet. And if you were to go over there, you'd find it looks like imported dwarven ale.
The jackpot.
To those two.
Well, at least I'll be happy today. He's just gonna pour him, fill up his hip flask with ale. It's pretty unusual, but with no glass to hand, have to make do.
As you pour yourself some of that in, kind of take a big swig, Sebastian would look over to you and just be, Fulgrim, do you mind if I have a drink?
Of course, my friend. Here. He comes and passes you the hip flask.
He takes a pretty modest gulp of it, and that sends him into another coughing fit. And that burns! Jesus, it's like gasoline. It's like alchemist fire.
It's a proper drink.
And then he goes back, and no one really noticed when it happened, but at some point during this, he's reached into his bag and pulls out what looks like a crude knapsack of some kind, almost like something that you would just hold wheat in or something, and he's stitching it together. And you guys think back, and it seems like anytime that Sebastian's had free time, he's like knitting this bag that he's worked on for months. And there's just this very crude, almost childlike insignia of the convocation on it. It's like a stick griffin almost, and a very unsymmetrical sun in the background. And he's just kind of working on it, occasionally coughing, and he brings the knapsack up to his mouth and wipes the blood, and then goes back to sewing it together.
So can this Devasti get us out here? Just get out of here quick, or will it take time? Do you know, Olbin?
I believe that Devasti can get you out quickly. The question is, what do you have that you could offer him in exchange? He's a procurer of strange things, foreign items. If you magical too. If you have something, it may be gold, but he'd charge a lot, I'm sure. Especially because there's 5 convokers.
He looks down to the sort of rune-etched war horn on his belt. I have something, but I don't want to give it up. It means too much.
He would look at you and he'd say, I can take this to him and see if maybe he'll accept this as payment, but I do not know for sure. Is there anything else that you can offer? And Emran would kind of fidget in the corner. And he'd stand to his feet. And does Fulgrim look longingly at that horn?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, so he would approach, having noticed this, and he'd kind of take the horn out of Olbin's hand and set it back in yours. I've got something I can offer him. And he reaches over to his hand and he pulls off his convoker ring. And he kind of rolls it between his fingers. And you know that convokers are only ever given one ring. And that ring is like theirs for life. It means something to them. And he kind of looks at it and sets it back in his hand. If he won't trade for that, then he won't trade for anything.
No. No, Emran, you shouldn't give up that ring. It's too good.
And he'd slowly look back at you and he'd say, that ring probably means less to me than that horn means to you, Fulgrim. I'm guessing it's probably some sort of heirloom, yes? And he kind of just put his hand on your shoulder. I'm the one we need to get to Viatur. I'll pay the prices. And he looks back at Olbin. Olbin will kind of nod. I'm sure he'll accept this.
Before we start trading, again, I hate to bring it up, but let me at least see if I can get close to the town to find this wayfinder.
Olbin would look at you and just nod. I can treat with the Vasti while you look for the wayfinder. That's fine.
Alright, good. If you hear any screaming, it's probably me getting some trouble.
And Olbin kind of just frowns and shakes his head. I hope there isn't any screaming then. And he kind of reaches up and pushes the wooden piece of flooring out of the way, the false flooring, and grabs on the edges and pulls himself up.
I'll follow behind and probably leave a few of my with the others for them to bring up. Just I'm trying to play off as just one of the soldiers that came in.
So roll me either stealth, performance, or stealth or performance to fool these people, or deception. Michael, what'd you get?
That's going to be an 18.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to make your way through the town largely unnoticed. I mean, people give you looks because, I mean, you're obviously not from here because it's pretty small. People know each other. But you'll be able to make your way around the town. Olbin puts the wooden floor back in place. Stay here, stay quiet. And turns, you hear the door open, you hear Brif go out, and then you hear him go out and shut the door.
As Sebastian's just continuing to sew this bag, he looks over to Fulgrim and Fulgrim, it's that horn. I always see you holding it, keeping it close by. What does it mean to you? It must be something important.
It was my father's horn. It's the last thing I've got of his. I don't much want to talk about it. Another time, maybe.
That's fair. If it counts for anything, it's my mother that showed me how to do this. He looks down to him sewing the bag. Although I suppose I'm quite shit at it.
Yeah, better at it than fighting.
He got me there.
And you both would hear a bit of a chuckle, sort of a low, pained laugh coming from Darius as he kind of maybe he shakily stood to his feet, maybe leaning against one of the beer barrels, and he looks to you, and he. Now of all times, you see the age in his eyes, as in he's been around for a long time, and just seeing you discuss this is for lack of a better word, a little heartwarming. And just again this low chuckle.
You hanging in there, old man?
Maybe. Maybe not. I've been through several wars. It wouldn't be too bad if I died now.
Well, if you fought in the wars like you fought with the orcs, can't really figure out how you're still alive, but I'm glad you are.
One gets rusty if you don't fight for roughly a decade.
Look to Fulgrim for another drink of his dwarven ale.
He just hands over the hip flask.
I take a big
why don't you hold on to it?
I take a big swig of it, and this time, it burns, but it makes it a little easier to talk. Here, Darius, I'll probably take the burn off a bit.
Yeah, Emran would press a bit of rot weed into your hand also, Darius, and say, stick it beneath your tongue. Just suck on it. Don't chew, don't swallow, just suck on it. So we're going to switch to Brif now, up on the docks, walking through the town. As you are walking, people, both orc, elf, and dwarf and alike, rush back and forth past you, checking the different buildings, different just like the tavern, etc. But no one seems to really pay attention to you. You're just another human man walking through the town. Where are you searching first?
Mike.
Yeah, you there?
Or no, I am now. Sorry,
Okay.
muting my mic. So I'd probably almost like play along as one of the other, people looking through for the convokers. Just kind of pretending to look for myself almost. Go through building, mostly public places where somebody could hang out or whatever, like this wayfinder. As I was kind of led to understand she is. But yeah, the tavern maybe be my first stop, but and spend the most time there. But
yeah, so you as you walk into the tavern, it looks like most of the citizens of this area have kind of found their way here. At least most of the men, and they're drinking and kind of sitting by themselves, like talking quietly in harsh tones. They look up at you and kind of surprised you walk in. Okay. Roll me a perception check.
$22.
You lock eyes with the green orc who you had a disagreement with the other day. And he locks eyes with you and his eyes narrow. He seems like he's trying to figure out who you are, like how he knows you.
So I bet I would kind of realize where he's from and see that he doesn't know exactly who I am yet. So I have to play it very careful here, or else I've been found and I'm good as dead. So I'd kind of come and sit by him and it's like, you find them yet? It's kind of, pretend to be one of his allies.
Roll me deception or performance, whichever you prefer.
Maybe a 10 is good enough.
Okay. He kind of like looks at you for a long minute. And he finally speaks. Who are you? How do I know you?
Don't remember me? Met with you while we were preparing for this thing. Didn't talk long. Won't be surprised if you can remember exactly who I am.
Kind of like leans back in his chair, kind of still studying you. I mean, you can tell that he's definitely still suspicious of who you are. And he kind of like picks up his tankard of ale and takes another sip of it. Sets it back down.
I
look
look at his, ale and see it's probably getting kind of low. It's like, yeah, why don't I get you another one of those? And I'd kind of signal for the waiter or barkeep to bring another one.
Yeah, so the barkeeper walks over carrying an ale, sets it down in front of this orc. And then he looks at you, and his eyes kind of widen as he recognizes you.
I'd probably just look at him with this, look of you say anything, or else, just telling him to be quiet. Almost also I do that kind of turn in my chair so that the orc doesn't see this look, and it looks to him as if I'm telling him to shoo. Just kind of send signals here.
Roll me intimidation.
$20.
Okay, the barkeep kind of just eyes kind of widen. He kind of takes one step back, turns on his foot, and just walks back to the bar as if he didn't see anything. The orc leans forward again, nursing his new tankard. So how do I know you? Care to elaborate on this meeting you spoke of?
What do you mean what is this meeting I spoke of? We're all there. It's kind of like hoping that there was some sort of a meeting where different groups gathered to discuss what they'd be doing and stuff. And that would be fairly obvious enough that he could just dance around it, pretending he knows what he's talking about.
Roll me a luck die. Roll me a luck die.
Okay.
D8. High good, low bad.
3.
There was no bloody meeting. What are you talking about?
I might be remembering things wrong. I was drinking quite a bit before the mission, like always.
He kind of just sits back and is looking at you. I have to take a piss. And he kind of just stands up and walks away. And he kind of looks back at you one more second, kind of like taking in everything about you, and then walks back behind the bar.
As he walks away, and once he's kind of not eyeing me anymore, I get up, like, okay, that was taken care of. Now it's time to get back to trying to find this person.
Yeah, as you kind of go to stand up, a hand claps down on your back and shoves you down into a chair. And then seated next to you, a woman in mottled green, black, and brown kind of clothing sits down. She's kind of got like blue tattoos over her eyes. And she's got kind of blonde hair, and she looks at you. You're nothing around here, are you?
Really? You just now realized that. How many of us do you think are?
No. I recognized it a while ago. You were here yesterday, too. Caused a problem at the bar. I know you.
And I kind of lean in, it's like, you watching me? Who are you?
Not watching, I merely observe. I was aware of the fact that you almost caused a bar fight yesterday with that fine gentleman. Don't worry, nobody likes Drek, so no one would believe you anyways, but... Answer me truthfully, and I'll know if you lie. The other 3 convokers are here in this village, aren't they? The other 3 who were with you yesterday.
Can I make an insight check to just kind of see, like, how well she recognizes me and what she might know?
Yeah, you can roll insight to see how well she actually knows you.
13.
You're pretty certain that she knows that you're a convoker.
Okay. And I just kind of look at her, knowing that there's probably other orcs in here, and people that are trying to find us, and just kind of give her this look of assurance, like, yeah.
Yeah, I thought as much. Of course you'd come here, assuming that the sacking was as bad as they're saying it is. The fires are still burning, so I would assume that it's pretty bad. Either way, my name is Viatur. I am the Wayfinder. Is it Olbin told you about?
I just kind of nod my head. It's like, trying to find you.
I'm the Wayfinder. I find you. You don't find me.
Well, then what might you be so in? And I just kind of look at her. It's like, they always do seem to come to me. It's kind of stretch. It's like, yeah. Almost flirting with her.
And she'll kind of look at you and say, somebody's pretty full of themselves either way. If you are looking for passage, I have passage to get you to Ravensport, that is. And it so happens that I am sympathetic to your cause.
Well, I could use the help. Why don't you come with me? Kind of gesture towards the door.
You would have to be daft to think that we could walk out together. Now see, I am known in these parts as the Wayfinder. You are not known. People will know if I walk out with you that you are looking to find the way.
Then where do you suggest we meet up?
Well, I suggest you go back to your friends. I suggest you tell them that you found me. And if it so be that you desire to pay for my services to get you to Ravensport, you come back here and find me. She kind of looks at the bar doors, which open, revealing a bunch of orcs coming in. And let's say quarter of an hour. And she stand up and walk away from you.
Alright. Then after she walks away, I'd kind of sit there a second longer, top off one of the 2 ales, so we aren't leaving together like she said we shouldn't do. And then not go immediately out of the village, again, trying to be very subtle, maybe pretend to be looking for myself just to 1 or 2 more places, find Olbin, and tell him I succeeded, and then go straight back to the others to let them know it's time to get going.
So as you go to make your way out of the bar, making your way towards the door, you see them drag someone in between several of the orcs. They're holding his arms up. And they unceremoniously dump to the floor Lazarus, the other Convoker Initiate from the A team. Filing in behind them comes the pale-skinned orc. He steps into the room, and everyone hushes. And you realize you're the only person standing right now. Brif. And he would kind of just like lock his eyes on you. Sit.
I definitely do. And I, notice, who they dragged in, kind of look at him, almost with like, yeah, you.
He walks this pale-skinned orc into the room, the rest of them falling in at the door, blocking it from escape. And he would stand quietly, looking from person to person, face to face. This here is the first of the Convokers to be found. And he looked down at Lazarus, who his side of his face is broken and bloody. He's missing several teeth. His perfect blonde hair is stained red from where he looks like he got cracked over the head with a mace. And he's pretty broken. It looks like he can barely even stand. A bone kind of protrudes out of his knee. And he's kind of like slowly shimmying across the floor away from him. I didn't do anything, I swear. I'm a Convoker. And the pale-skinned orc looks at him. We know what you are, filth. And he walks across the floor towards him and turns and looks at everyone in the bar. This, he looks back at Lazarus and then back at everyone else, is the price that will be paid for the blood shed in the broken north. This is the price that will be paid for the blood shed in the Vale. This is the price that will be paid for the tyrants who burn men, women, and children, who burn what they deem that are monsters. And he kind of looks at all the other orcs, and at the other elves, and at the dwarves. And then he looks back down at Lazarus. And Lazarus is just mumbling mercy. And Kalash kneels down, this pale-skinned orc kneels down in front of him and looks him in the eyes and says, Convoker, on this day remember the name Kalash Bloodfist. And he leans forward and grabs him by the side of the head. And he brings his head back and slams it against the bar once. And he brings it back and cracks it against the bar a second time. And his eyes roll back into his head. He brings it back and cracks against the bar a third time. And then he lifts him with one hand by the throat and slams him onto the bar, his body prostrate. And he holds a hand behind him, and one of the orcs walks up and places an axe in it. And he looks back at the rest of the bar again. We are here to reclaim what is rightfully ours. And he lifts the axe over his head and brings it straight down on Lazarus's throat. Once, cutting halfway through, and lifts it one more time and brings it down a second time, cutting the rest of the way. And he turns, his perfect pale skin marred with flecks of blood. And his eyes lock with each person one more time through the room. Harbor one of these and the same happens to you. And he thunks the axe down into a table and walks out, leaving the body there.
Change of plans. I'm going straight out of town.
So you're just leaving without telling anybody?
I'd probably look at him as I leave, but that's it. Just, he's dead.
So you leave. Are you you're not going? Are you going back to Olbin's house, or you're just bailing?
I'd probably at first kind of look like I'm, bailing. But as I hit the edge of town, I look back, and then at the Glaspool, fire is still burning. At the village, and in my hands, I'd stiffen them and turn and go back to Olbin's house. Just very unsure. But this is something I have to do. For myself. It would be too easy to bail. Too easy to just stop all of this. Go back to what I was before. But I left that life for a reason. Because I want to mean something. I don't want to just go through. I want to make a difference. Make something of myself. So that's what I'm going to do.
I want you to roll me a perception check.
15.
As you turn around the edge of town and make your way back through the winding streets, through the boardwalks and the wooden docks, you get the feeling, and as you look over your shoulder briefly as you turn a corner, you notice that you're being followed. And that is where we'll take a break. So go ahead and go to the bathroom, get a drink, do whatever you need to. Be back in like 5 to 10 minutes. Well, 5 to 7.
Damn, son.
Oh.
All right, I'll be back,
Tension was real.
boys. I almost peed my pants during that scene, so.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. You're lucky your armor is easily removed. Because it's slightly harder to hide full plate emblazoned with Convoker symbols.
Yeah. Oh.
The tension was real by then, dang.
Damn. Anyone get the name of the pale orc?
I think it was Rashek. No. Something Bloodfest. Or was it Rakshek?
I'll ask him. Yeah.
Either way. I've already got my drink, so I'm sticking around. Tension makes me tired. Oh hey, I'm gonna show off something I got. I got a present yesterday. A nice new shirt.
That is
get it.
Swag shirt.
Yep.
I can't see anything you're showing, so.
Click on my icon, I guess.
No, I just see black.
Oh,
Fuck that hangout curse.
the
Yep.
hangout curse indeed.
Because you only ever have technical issues when you really, really need to not.
Yep.
That's how the rule works.
Ugh.
It's a shirt that it's basically in a set of 8. There's a shirt for every enchantment school, and this one is at every school, and this one is for enchantment. Sorry. There's like dice along the bottom. There's and it's like there's hands puppeteering a guy in armor. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds cool. So I'm just gonna put in chat what I marked on my character sheet for the pale orc.
Okay. Let me guess before you post. Is it something akin to "Do not fuck with this guy"?
Somewhat. For any viewers, just to summarize, Brif is going to need a new pair of pants.
You're lucky you're wearing brown.
Yeah. I was smart enough to wear my brown pants.
So, yeah, just
So yeah, that happened.
Yeah. I wish Sebastian was there for that. It would have went so much smoother for you.
Would it have?
Oh yeah.
a wounded alchemist just kind of coughing its teeth out.
Still awake over there, Harry?
I think he went away for break.
It's like an ungodly hour for you guys, eh?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
It's like an ungodly hour in the
Oh, yeah,
morning for you guys today.
It's 5 a.m.
Yeah. I got a super long day ahead of me tomorrow myself.
Mhm.
But it's definitely not
least you can
5 a.m.
have-
here.
At least you can have a regular sleep schedule.
That'll be debatable. I'll
Yeah.
be lucky to get 4 hours tonight.
Somewhat. Okay, and then we're about to sleep. Then we slept. Then we will sleep / have slept the same amount of time. There you go.
Uh,
So yeah, I for this game specifically, I busted out my my ace golden sort of golden red dice.
Nice.
I'm back.
nice.
How you doing, Harry? You tired tonight? Or this morning?
I'm feeling like crap, which is why I've been pretty quiet. But
Are you sick again?
I am sick. I don't know. It just suddenly came on today, but I didn't want to pull out, so I'm just sitting through.
You always keep in, even if you cough.
That sucks, man. We'll hope you feel better soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Just don't spread it to me.
I'll be ready for our game in a couple of weeks for sure.
That's if Tyler doesn't keep pushing it back like a schmuck.
Yeah, it was Tyler's fault.
It was entirely Tyler's fault for pushing my game back. Bastard.
Yeah, it was him. It was totally him this time.
Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't know what it's
We're supposed to have this game a month ago, I realize.
Yep.
Yeah, his fire and schedule seemed to be a little rough.
Yeah, I know. Last time we had to push it back was because I forgot we had to play, and I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll get up." The ass crack of dawn the next day for overtime.
Yep,
So that's why we had to push it back.
it happens, man.
It happens. Do not worry.
At least we're here now, watching poor Lazarus get his
Head chopped
shit
off.
mashed out.
And then there's two of us which are having a lot of fun role-playing coughing our eyes out.
Yeah, I have like an actual sore throat right now, so that voice was just like killing me. So I'm like, I need to figure out a way to make an excuse for him not to talk like this.
Oh.
Thank God for that dwarven ale. I just cleared it right up.
I never actually had a problem doing like gravelly voices or like making my voice hoarse. In
Yeah.
fact, one of my favorite voices to do sounds something like this.
Yeah, that would be rough for me right now.
That's one of my favorite ones to do.
I'm terrible at accents.
Oh, so am I. That's the closest thing to an accent I can do. Super deep, super gravelly monster.
I don't really know what happens to me when I try to do them. It all comes back to this one like meshed up smorgasbord accent that.
I can do the the stereotypical leprechaun Irish, but I don't want Lloyd to come and murder me. So.
Come on. Here, let me just turn on a recording
No.
program first.
Just mute myself.
Get like Audacity open.
You know what? I'm just gonna stop trying to get XSplit to work. Because I've literally, going back and forth between messing with it whole game.
I keep telling it, no matter how many times you actually mess with it, it won't work unless you restart your computer. It happened to me too.
Yeah, but I'm really. That means I'll have to reopen everything and.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, XSplit is like spiking from using up 88% of my CPU to 99, and going around from there.
Hey, you know what? Given how crappy my laptop is, that's actually kind of normal.
Fair enough.
So,
Let's have to check how
I mean, like, for
explosion
just day-to-day runnings. So, There's a reason why I'm looking into building a new one myself.
Yeah, I need
That's
to
smart.
upgrade my computer, but I keep on, like a responsible adult, buying board games instead.
That is a more valuable.
Every time I seem to have enough money to start buying parts, something else comes up. It's like, yeah, you need to spend money on this instead.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
So I mean, I've been planning on doing it for like a year.
Well, I'm lucky enough that I got as a present a pretty high-end laptop. I put like 8% of my CPU.
Oh, nice. That's not bad. Do you know what brand it is?
Bridges.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
I
Probably just modern architecture, unlike mine.
Yeah, I get.
My laptop is like, if I were to compare it to current generation Intel CPUs, it's like a low-end i3.
So it's a potato.
Who's ready
Yeah.
to die?
I am. Clearly.
Okay.
Who's living 6 feet under, screwed as he is?
Okay,
Brif,
all right.
Brif, that is he.
So we're
I'll tell you
gonna pick up right away then with back down inside of the beneath Olbin's house. So it's been probably about like 15 minutes since we'll probably act about 20, 25 since anyone left. You hear the door upstairs open and then close. And then footsteps walking around upstairs.
Sebastian expectantly waits for the signal, the 1-2 tap.
It never happens.
Would hold a finger to my mouth and look at everybody with like a "that's not Olbin" kind of look.
Yeah. Fulgrim meets your gaze and then sticks a hand on his warhammer. He knows he's probably the only one that can actually do anything right now. But he just waits, staying as silent as possible.
There's like a little crack of light kind of coming down from the floorboards above me. Can I take a perception check? Maybe a disadvantage and see if I can see who it is?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. And I think, what did you say about the rotweed? Do I need to make a con save before I make an ability check?
Yes.
All right, let me do that first. Con save. That was a 17 plus 2.
You good.
I good. All right. And then ability check for the old perception at disadvantage is 11.
You can make out from beneath the floorboards kind of black leather boots, mottled assortment of green and brown clothing. Occasionally a shock of blonde hair.
Don't recognize like any of those features though. I just
Nope.
quietly wait.
Roll me insight though, all three of you.
What was my bonus for insight again? No, same as everything else. 18.
Okay. You can tell by the way that she or this person is walking around that they are searching for something. like on the floor. They seem to be looking for a hidden compartment.
Okay. Darius, seeing this, he would maybe gesture to everyone else, and he would maybe point to the silhouette or the shadow of the figure, and then to the trap door. And his hand would slowly stray to the hilt of his blade, again sort of strained, but he is trying his hardest to not make a sound. Whether that is painless, I will leave that up to the DM.
Oh, it is not painless with a broken rib. Every movement is pain.
Sebastian
Didn't think
looks. Sorry, Sebastian looks across the room where his light crossbow is propped up against the dresser, and for a moment he considers picking it up, but then he just shakes his head and kind of looks at it with almost like a sense of like disdain, and actually doesn't go towards it. Instead, he grabs his quarterstaff, which is more of like a walking stick than anything, and just kind of holds it. And it's more of holding himself up than actually holding it to strike.
The footsteps slowly get closer and closer to this trapdoor until one foot lands on it and it shakes, and the footsteps stop. You hear the foot slide back and then tap on it a few more times. And fingers reach down around the edge of the false planks and lift them up, allowing light to come down in. And you see there, leaning into the light, the face of a woman, a blonde-haired woman. She kind of squints into the darkness. And her eyes catch the glint of the gleaming sword, partially drawn out of the scabbard of Darius. I see you there. Sheath your weapon.
You muted.
Oh. Darius gives no verbal reply. He simply sits there. He doesn't move the sword any further, either back into the sheath or back out out of it. He simply just he's more waiting for her to announce herself than anything else. She does not look hostile to start with any way, shape, or form.
She doesn't look hostile, although people are known to be deceptive. But she looks down at you. Calm yourself, Convoker. I'm the Wayfinder. And she kind of drops back down. She leans and puts her legs over the edge into the hole and drops into the room.
And with that, she'd hear a sigh, and the metal crossguard will sort of gently slide back down onto the sheath, and she'd hear sort of a gravelly, pained voice go, "Then Brif is with you."
Sebastian kind of like stumbles up to her using the quarterstaff as a walking stick and gets almost uncomfortably close, and you can actually smell a bit of dwarven ale on his breath now. And he says, oh good, Brif found you then. Where is he? Let's get the hell out of here. We'll pay you what we can.
She frowns. He is not back? I made sure to wait a little while to make sure he arrived first. He is not here.
He looks lost for words. But how did you find us? If what do you mean? Weren't you with him?
I met him at the tavern, the Floating Marshes.
Mm-hmm.
I left first to make sure that we were not seen leaving together.
Kind of gulp. Well, we'll just wait. Brif's a competent guy. He'll be here any moment. I know he will. Just wait, everyone. Don't worry. Brif's okay.
And I know this may be I don't know what kind of role I would need to do this, but basically I'm trying to maybe venture a guess as to just how typically things go for both us, and in my experience, if someone is late, how likely is it that he is just simply waiting, he got stalled somewhere?
You don't have to make a check. Given the situation, him being quote unquote late, and considering how many people are here, he could have just been stopped, but it doesn't bode well.
And there he looks to Fulgrim, and he goes, I do not feel good about him. I don't feel good about him being late. Is there any way you can contact him?
There's no way I can contact him from in here. I'm certainly not a stealthy dwarf. It's just, if I go up there, I'm going to be spotted, heard, seen immediately. Just have to wait. We can't wait too long. Give him a few more minutes. He knew the risks.
The door opens again above you, and then shuts, and you hear the tap, 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 tap. And then you hear the whisper, "It's me, Olbin." The slats come up, move out of the way, and as he's dropping in, he says, I spoke with the Vasti. He says that he can make sure that you are out of the city within shorter than the next hour, maybe 15 minutes. And then he kind of drops in and looks at the Wayfinder. Oh, he found you. Oh, where is Brif?
It's not back yet.
Olbin's expression darkens.
Sebastian's back to sewing his knapsack, and don't worry about Brif. He's good. He'll be here any minute. Don't worry, guys. I know Brif's okay. And you notice that there's very little sincerity. Like, it's almost like he's convincing himself more than anything.
And while the talks are going on, Darius simply reaches into the remnants of what is his pack, and he basically he pulls out a small candle and a tinderbox. And basically what he's doing is he's he lights the candle that it only lasts about 15-20 minutes. So he figures if he's not back by then, he'll probably assume what's happened. Again, he does this quietly. He does not actually say anything.
And the candle starts to burn. We're going to switch back up to the surface. Brif, you are being followed.
So I notice that I'm being followed. Do I get any hint of who it might be by? You know, who's behind me or anything?
Not really. You didn't get a good glimpse of who they were. You just saw a large shadow following you.
Okay. Then I would probably just kind of dart through different places, you know, areas that I feel might give me cover, and wait a little bit, then go out, slipping through some sort of crack. Just do whatever I can to lose them.
So go ahead and give me stealth.
Nat 20.
Okay. Not only are you able to lose your follower, you get a good glimpse of who they are, and it's Drek, the large orc from the bar. You see him he walks past the place that you're hiding. He kind of like shakes his head and kind of like reaches up and scratches for a second and looks around, and then continues walking, picking up his pace, having realized that he's lost you.
So yeah, once I see that he's lost me, then I'll pop out of my hiding spot and get going back to the cabin, knowing that I'm probably running late by now. Yeah.
And you would arrive. And the door opens. You guys hear above you, and then it shuts. And do you do the customary stomping?
I probably wouldn't. I'd just kind of walk around a second and then go straight to the door and open up, peek my head, and it's like, hey there, guys. Long time no see.
As you open the trap door and start leaning in, roll me a dex save. What'd you get?
9.
Out of the darkness, a fishing spear comes flying and catches you in the shoulder, dealing you 3 points of damage as Olbin stabs up at you.
Hey, is that any way to treat a friend? I'm completely making light of it. Given what's going on in my head, I'm joking to the others might seem almost normal for me, but I'm, just trying to, make light of it for myself. Just, gotta be here. Can't show, what's really going on. How scared I really am.
As you drop down in, Olbin would kind of sheepishly reach up past you and pull the cover back over. What took you so long?
Oh, you know me. Or, you don't. They do. Like a good show. Just, again, completely joking and making light of it. Just like, well, we're all here now, so how soon can we get going?
Sebastian stands up, and he's managed to actually sew on little kind of drawstrings on his bag now, so that he can actually wear it as like a makeshift backpack. And he would walk up to you, Brif, and just say, "Oh, glad you're back. Did Olbin get you there? Good."
And he'd kind of, roll his shoulder, almost like grimacing. It's like, well, worse than you would have done, but I've had worse still.
Well, here, drink this. It tastes like shit, but might make it feel a little better. And he'll reach into one of his satchels and pull out a vial that's similar to what he gave to Darius a while back. Just one gulp, drink it down, and you'll feel better.
All right. And I just kind of throw it back and chug, and it's like, oh, what is this? Did you... I know I haven't been the nicest guy to you in the past, but seriously, that's no reason to hand me this. Oh. And just kind of throw it to the ground, breaking the glass. Like, Where's some rotweed? That'll take away the taste and just kind of start scavenging around.
That's the thing. This is a new iteration of the recipe. I squeezed a little bit of rotweed in it. That's probably the taste. Sorry, but I imagine you feel better. And I actually rolled max on the heal, so you got 8 HP back.
All right, it's like he's like, rotweed would be an improvement to that.
That's what I thought. It tastes like bacon, so I squeezed a little in. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you my guinea pig. And you can see me like swaying now, as it seems like I may have had a little bit too much of the dwarven ale and got a zany idea for the recipe. But good job finding the wayfinder. I agree. Let's get the hell out of here. It's only a matter of time.
So Olbin would kind of look at you, and the Wayfinder would kind of lean back against the wall. And Olbin says, well, it would appear as if you have 2 options still. Zavasti accepted your terms. His ship is more sure, not to mention you get the aid of his Kazrin construct, Oak. But the Wayfinder has agreed to take you as well. So it is up to you which you wish to take.
What's your name, ma'am? He looks to the Wayfinder.
Ifar.
Can you throw that in the chat? Sorry, Ty.
Yeah.
My name's Sebastian. Thank you for trying to help us. How would you get us out of here? You're here now. This seems immediate.
Well, they have sentries posted at every end of the town. We're not going to escape quietly without taking care of the ones on the end that we need to leave on, the north end. There are about 2, 3. We take care of them, we take the boat out, and that's the way we leave. We can leave through the boat here. This is a smuggling hole after all. But to get past the sentries, somebody would need to take care of them.
Some more killing.
And then Olbin looks at you. Devasti proposes that we take his floating caravan. The guards will search it, but he assures us they will not find you. And seeing as he has free transit to and from the city as a merchant, they cannot detain him.
I'd probably look at all of them and it's like, well, I meet with this Devasti, but they also didn't have free reign to go attacking the keep. And I trust her a lot more after having met with her myself.
Darius kind of nods at that and he goes, "Consider me old-fashioned, but I'm more inclined to trust someone whose face I've seen than someone who I've only heard from rumor." It kind of clutches at his side again as he Shigley stands above the floor, like holding his sheathed sword like a cane almost.
Sebastian would look to Isar. What's your gang in this? Why are you helping us?
Consider, I know what comes from helping convokers, and I may not deal in favors in the same way as the Vasti, but I still deal in favors. I know that you will not forget that I helped you. And maybe someday, if the gods are willing, you will help me.
Believe me, if you can get us out of this hellhole, you will have a whole bunch of help.
Well, I can get you out. We simply need to deal with the sentries. Deal with them, we're home free. We'll take the quiet keeps. Nobody knows how to navigate the quiet keeps as well as I do. And we'll be on Ravenport in no time at all. Though I can't promise that I will completely take them off your scent. They will still be searching for you. Especially knowing what you know from Glaspool.
What do you think, Fulgrim?
The one issue I can see is taking out the sentries. You're not in a position to fight. Neither's Darius. That leaves just a few of us to take him out quietly at that. You know that's not my style. But
And if I would look at you, what is living your style? Because this is the only way you live.
I know that. Yeah, this is a good option as any. Let's do it.
Good. I will help with taking care of the sentries. But Olbin, or who has any knowledge of moving or conducting boats? Any of you have any skill at all in this? Very well. Then Olbin will have to direct the boat while we take care of the sentries. Seeing as that is how it will go, we should start now. And she reaches into her pack behind her back and pulls out this large kind of square. And she sets it down on the ground and starts unfolding it. And after maybe 2 or 3 minutes of unfolding, she kind of snaps a bunch of pieces into place, and there's a boat. A foldable boat.
Nice. Sebastian would speak up and say, I can commandeer the boat. We don't need no drunken fishermen to help us. And he actually kind of gives Olbin a scowl.
Olbin kind of looks a little bit hurt at this and frowns. If that is what you want, then fine. Direct the boat yourself.
I just kind of look at him and it's like, hey, don't turn away his help. An ally is an ally. And you're not in the best shape.
I can hold my own. I can't fight, but I can do that. We don't need his help. He's done enough. Look at him. We can't even count for him not to be all hopped up on rotweed. He's a junkie, I can tell.
He's still offering our help. It's foolish to turn it down, no matter who it's coming from, or in what shape they're in.
Olbin would kind of raise a hand to stop you guys from fighting. He has a point. I used to be a smuggler, but this is all mine now. He knows. He understands. And he would kind of look at you, Sebastian. And best of luck on your travels. I am happy I could help the convocation in some way.
Consider,
and then he,
consider your debt repaid to the convocation, Olbin.
You kind of just nod. You nod with a smile. Well, may the gods bless your journey then. And you kind of walk over and lift the slat out of the way, and look back at Emran. Oh, and this is yours. And he pulls the ring out and puts it back in his hand. If you will not be using the Vasti, I will go and inform immediately. Best of luck. Perhaps it would be the best if you were not here when I returned. And Emran would kind of nod at him and slap him on the shoulder. You've done a lot for us. We appreciate that.
As everyone's kind of like walking out at this point, Sebastian would kind of lag behind, and he would look at one of his long sleeves and he'd actually rip it off. And he'd wait for everyone to get out the door, and then it would just be him and Olbin, and he'd say, "Do you mind just helping me one last time? Just wrapping this up?" And he lifts up his shirt, and you see the deep gash, and then just this deep purple of a bruise completely around it as he starts wrapping the cloth from his sleeve around him to kind of just give it like a tension kind of band-aid. And he looks at him and says, "Listen, I'm sorry about what I said. It's not that I think you're a junkie. I know that you can commandeer the ship better than I ever could. But you risking your life for us, you risking your life for the convocation, that's stupid. It's idiotic. You're only going to get yourself killed. There's no such thing as a hero. This convocation, it's bullshit." He pulls his knapsack and rips the crudely stitched convocation emblem on it. There's no such thing as heroes. There's people that die, and then there's people that live. Even heroes live long enough to become somebody's enemy.
He would kind of smile sadly at you as he knelt down in front of you, stitching, wrapping this around you. "My son said something similar to me once. He told me, what was it? The convocation is war. And war is the greatest hypocrisy. Men spend their lives building and creating, and war destroys that in minutes. You know, I agree with him. I don't think the convocation is war. I think men are war. And men will bring war with them no matter where they go. But as for saying that there are no such thing as heroes, I don't agree. I think a hero is a man or a woman who chooses to stand up for something which is right. Maybe it doesn't benefit them, but something that benefits others." And he finishes stitching the area around you, and as he stands to his feet, coming face to face with you, his kind of rotted teeth and his stinking rotweed breath, you see just past him on the wall. You didn't notice it when you first came in, but hung there is an old leather jerkin, and stitched on the front is the symbol of a Convoker Initiate. And he smiles. "Heroes are only dead if you let them be, Sebastian." And he kind of slaps you on the shoulder. "Now get off with you. You need to get somewhere safely. Ithar will help you. I know that. But try and find hope. There are people around you who want to see you succeed, who want to see you safe. And I'm one of them. I've seen too much failure and death in my life." Kind of puts a hand on your shoulder and smiles.
Sebastian tries to return the smile, but the look in his eyes is just that of like a void. And he says, I used to believe in that. I used to believe in standing up for what's right. My mother stood up for what's right. She's the only reason that I'm here today. And I'm sure a lot would call her a hero. I know I did, but she's dead. She's dead because she saved me. And what is standing up for that when you're just dead? What is standing up for anything if you're dead? And then he just, "Thank you though. I'll take your words and I'll think about them." And then he'll actually just turn and leave.
And you hear, though, as the door's closing, it doesn't matter what you stand for, Sebastian. It matters what you're willing to die for. And then the door shuts behind you.
He gives them one last look and then sees everyone waiting for him and just like, oh, sorry guys, I needed to bandage myself up before going. It makes it easier to walk.
The boat, this folding boat, it sits in the water, and they're helping Darius down into it right now. Ithar would offer you a hand to lower you down into the boat.
I hop down, and then I'm just kind of like standing there awkwardly as everyone's looking at me. Then I'm like, oh yeah, me. I'm the one that's commandeering this. Right. Okay, I got this.
She starts rattling off like all of these sailing terms. Like, oh, make sure the if it starts like to lean to the starboard, you go to the aft and etc. Like, and all these different things. You're just like, so she's like trying to explain how to do. Just hold that pole and turn it in the opposite way that you want to go.
Yeah. Yes.
She points at Darius. Use that long pole to push your way through the water. It's shallow enough here you can reach the bottom. You shouldn't have to row.
And he nods at that, and while was being held down, he definitely was a tad just muttering curse words as he as pretty much any pose he went down and just hurt like hell. And he sort of grips at the pole and just feels around until he pokes at the bottom of the river.
So you guys in the boat are going to be traveling beneath the city, like beneath all the docks and all the houses raised on stilts. So I'm going to need you guys to make stealth checks. The three of you are going to take care of the sentries. Make stealth checks as well. Emran climbs down with you too, and he takes the other pole.
Yes. Are we still under the effects of the rotweed, or?
The rotweed by this point is worn off, so your temporary hit points are gone too.
Gotcha.
Useful. My dice have been loving me tonight. 19. Oh, right, disadvantage. Fuck.
But you're not moving around, so you're not gonna like jingle your mail or anything. You're just moving a stick to make sure you stay out of the light. So no disadvantage on this if you're wearing heavy armor. The people walking around, yes, still.
So, okay, wait. I don't have to roll a disadvantage, is what you're saying.
Yes. Just take the 19. Ooh, that juicy 9. Hey, Harry's bringing it home.
Did we or did we not start with inspiration?
Whoever got inspiration last session. By the way, Sebastian, take another one from another great roleplay moment right there. Yeah. So unless you got one last session or were voted for one at the end of last session, you don't have one.
Of course, the heavy armor is. Oh wait, right. He's the one who's taking care of the sentry, right? Well,
and I do allow passing of inspiration if anyone wants to try to give him inspiration to help him out.
You can take mine if you want. Do you let an inspiration stack, Ty? Because I technically would have 2.
I allow it to stack, yeah.
All right, so you can take one of mine.
What'd you get on your stealth check, Michael?
Yep, sorry, let me roll. Alright. I got a 17.
Okay. No, not with disadvantage. You basically just roll another die. We'll just cancel out your low roll. So what would you get then, Harry? $12. Okay, that's better. That's enough. Hey, that's smiley face. At least we're having a good time. Okay, so yeah, you'll kind of succeed. So the other two approach their sentries just fine. What do you do that kind of startles your sentry a bit, Harry? Not enough to get him to raise the alarm, but enough to get him to kind of like notice you.
I give a quiet burp as the dwarven ale comes sort of fizzing in the stomach. Just let out a slight burp, and he's like, "Oh, what?"
And the person who turns to look at you is a dwarf as well.
I think they just sort of stare each other down for a moment. Before he sort of realizes what he's meant to be doing, and then sort of raises up his hand and lets out a shoot of sacred flame on this guy's ass.
Okay. Okay. So dex save for him then, right?
Yeah. Hold on. DC is 12, I believe.
Okay, so he's gonna fail. How much damage do you do to him?
Let me just find a die that I'm actually going to use. There we go. So he takes 3 damage.
3 damage. Okay. Yeah. What does the sacred flame look like? Ooh.
So it looks more like blue lightning, like arcing out of his hand towards this guy, and it sort of like a spider web sort of like crackles over his armor as it burns him, and then he'll just charge forward. He's not a quiet guy, unfortunately.
Yeah, this dwarf is startled. So he kind of like turns around, sees you, and he's like about to hail you, and you kind of like raise a hand like you're gonna hail him back, and then this sacred flame bursts out of your hands. So that's your surprise round. Okay, the other two of you, go ahead and make your surprise attacks because they didn't notice you. Oh, so that's Ithar and Michael. So go ahead and make an attack at advantage.
Hey Mike, your camera finally started working.
Yeah, it did. It looks like I got a really fancy 11.
11 is definitely going to miss. That's an advantage too.
Yeah, you want to guess what my other roll? What my 2 rolls were?
Is it a nat 1?
1, a nat 1, and a 7.
Okay, well, you miss. The guard kind of looks up in surprise as this sacred flame hits the other sentry, and he kind of like turns and sees you charging him, and he kind of just barely gets his his armored gauntlet up in the way and kind of slides it off his gauntlet. Ithar has much better luck, and she's going to crit on her attack. The other guard kind of turns and looks at her and is like drawing his blade as she draws a greatsword off of her back and brings it slamming down across his chest, dealing 28 points of damage and instantly killing him. And she kicks him into the chest back into the water. Okay, roll initiative.
To pee a little.
Your dice are hating you today, Mike.
I know. It's like, it's alright, you know, about average as you'd expect. A good roll here and there. And now you're absolutely useless.
Does Captain SS Willicker need to roll initiative?
No, you're not there yet. You're still lagging behind underneath the docks.
Good.
Good. Okay, so top of the order then, Fulgrim.
He would just charge forward, raising his Warhammer high and trying to just bring it down on this guy's skull. Just trying to splat his face in. Let's do this. Shit. Hey, okay, that's a 19 altogether.
19 will hit, yeah.
I'm using this with 2 hands, so I don't have my shield out. Oh, yes! Okay, that's 12 damage. Rolled a 10 on the die.
Ow. Where does your hammer hit? This smashes this guy across the face somewhere.
I think I probably just smack him like straight, sort of like where the eye socket would be. So that would sort of just cave in if that kills him.
It doesn't kill him, but as your hammer comes slamming down, you hear that sickening crunch as his face caves, and this part of his eye is just like drooping now as the skull is broken here and the skin sloughs. So it's the guard's next. He screams in pain. His buddy next to him starts yelling out, help, help, help! Something, maybe intruders, what he starts screaming. Escapees. And he draws his longsword. This dwarf that you just hammer timed across the face, he kind of stumbles backwards and lifts a shield. And then in his other hand, he brings out a morning star and starts swinging it around. He's going to try and smash you now, this time, Fulgrim. What's your AC?
16.
Okay, so that's a 23.
Okay.
So that is going to hit. And his morning star just kind of comes swinging over, and he kind of brings his shield down, knocking your hand out of the way to block, and he brings it down across your shoulder, this big metal ball with spikes, and it crunches you to your shoulder as he deals 9 points of damage to you.
Okay. And as the Morningstar head hits my body, this blue lightning shoots back up along the shaft, and I'm using Wrath of the Storm, so he needs to make a dex save.
He definitely fails. It's a nat 1.
Okay, so he takes 2d8. Let me just get that right. Yep. So he takes 10 points of damage.
What does it look like as you fry him?
So the lightning would sort of travel, crackling up his Morningstar, shooting up his arm, and he'd just start convulsing as the electricity reaches his brain. And then you'd see his remaining eye just boil and burst as the sort of electricity just fries him.
Yeah, vitriolic fluid just streams down his eye as he kind of stumbles backwards, his face in shock, his body convulsing, and slips backwards into the water with a splash. The other guard kind of is going to he's going to attempt to shield bash you, Brif. Go ahead and make me a strength check against him.
What is happening with my dice all of a sudden? I got a 6.
Okay, yeah, well, he got a 17. So he slams his shield into you, knocking you off your feet, knocking you prone, and 5 feet backwards. And he's going to raise his longsword over his head and attack you at advantage. And that's going to be a 22 to hit. That is definitely going to hit. And he chops you for 9 points of damage as well. His longsword comes biting down into your leg deep, maybe like 4 or 5 inches into the meat of your leg. And he kind of he pushes down a bit just to make to prove the point that he's here to kill you. And then he pulls it back out with a spray of blood. And next is Ithar. Ithar is going to notice your state and step in, and her attack is going to land. for 8 points. This great sword comes whirling through the air. He barely brings up his shield, but it bites into the shield, pulls it out of his hand out of the way, and she brings a fist up and punches him in the face as he kind of like stumbles backwards. Next up, Fulgrim. Oh no, Brif. You're on the ground prone. You're muted.
So is it a regular action or a movement action to stand up? I don't remember.
Movement.
Okay.
Oh, by the way. Oh no. So yeah, just go ahead. Okay.
So yeah, I'll stand up and he's probably still close enough for me to get him, and I'll first kind of stand up and get on my leg and kind of get my bearings as I use my second wind to get back some of those hit points he dealt to me. And as I find my footing, I'm going to swing for him, again, hopefully not failing. And yay! A good roll. So yeah, I'm going to hit him. I'm assuming 22 gets him.
Yes, sir. You kept looking away every single time I give you a thumbs up.
Oh, sorry. I can't see because let me minimize this thing I have open here. I keep looking away because I'm... So, alright. Time for that sweet, sweet damage. Alright, that's going to be 8 points of damage.
Yeah, your sword bites deep and true. Scoring it cut maybe against his leg also where he cut you.
Alright.
He kind of stumbles backwards, howling in pain. Darius and Sebastian, you guys appear from beneath the docks, and you can see this little battle taking place above you.
All right. So one is dead and floating in the marsh. What about the other two?
2 are dead and floating in the marsh. 1 is standing up on the edge of the dock.
The one that's fighting Brif. Okay. So, should we roll initiative?
You guys are just going to act after Brif.
You can go first.
All right. So Darius, seeing this, he's sort of taking stock of the situation, looking around, seeing the corpses, and seeing that Brif is engaging with this guy, and he has dealt a few wounds. What he's gonna do is gonna momentarily take his hand off the steering pole, the whatever you call it, and he's gonna reach his hand down to his belt that has a small sheath attached, and he's gonna pull out a dagger, and he's gonna attempt to throw it at the guy Brif is fighting.
Go for it.
I'm gonna first make a Constitution check because this is in combat.
Yep.
Rolled exactly a 12. Nice.
Okay.
And attack roll. and the results keep coming.
Isn't that one?
Nope. Natural 20.
Very nice. Go ahead.
So, roll damage, add modifiers, double it. So, a thrown dagger can have, is it just dexterity or can it have strength too?
It's even more. It's versatile,
Okay.
I believe.
So that would be 10 damage.
Okay. Your dagger sinks into the meaty part of this guy's calf, burying very deeply into his skin. It doesn't kill him, but a gout of blood explodes outward. You seem to have hit a major artery.
And he calls over to Brif as he goes, followed up with a coughing fit as he goes, I'm gonna need that back.
I kind of yell back at him. It's like, well, hopefully soon he'll be in the water floating your way.
Sebastian.
Sebastian is currently holding the paddle backwards so that the wide end is in his hand and the handle is in the water. And he's trying to steer the boat so that it's near his party for when they're done. And he's just getting frustrated. Like, why the hell can't this thing's doing nothing? Darius, what the hell? And then he's not going to actually act because he's just going to basically try to get the boat so that as soon as they're done fighting, they can hop on and we can get the hell out of here.
So you're going to hold the boat in place. Okay. So go ahead and just make me like a vehicle ship check. So just do like either just a flat strength or dexterity.
Oh boy. Flat dexterity. Sure. Natural 20. Yes, I wanted to definitely nat 20 that. The boat comes to a sudden, precise halt as I do one of those fancy U-turn parallel parks where the car slams on the e-brake and fits perfectly into the parallel park spot.
The boat, you slam the rudder and the boat's like...
Yeah, really, really slow, but it is perfect.
But perfectly, it just comes perfectly to just stop right beneath the dock.
Guys, get on! They're yelling. It's only a matter of a second before they're on us.
Crikey, mate, this crazy beast. Yeah, it comes to a stop right beneath the dock. It's just boom! And you see Ithar kind of like, eyes kind of like go up in appreciation. Fulgrim.
Yep, he's just going to try and get on that boat. There's no point trying to be silent now. The alarm has definitely been raised. It's just time to get out.
Okay. There's one more guard between you and the boat, by the way.
Oh, is there? I thought there was only
he's still
three.
alive.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I must have missed that. I think... how far away is he from me?
Like 10 feet.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to go up and try and smack him then. I'm going to try and just... I don't know if I'm like side on, but bring my hammer around and try and paralyze this guy by hitting his spine.
Ooh. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, nice. That is a 22 altogether.
That'll definitely hit.
Right. Oh. Okay, only 3 damage. I rolled a 1.
You did 3 damage?
Yeah.
He had 3 hit points left. How do you kill him?
I think you just hear probably like 4 or 5 vertebrae just shatter under the force of this blow. Hear them just cracking and splintering within his body. His back would probably like bend backwards on itself before he'd just crumple back into the water.
Yeah, as he falls backwards, his legs now useless. From his hand, from the hand that holds his shield, a letter falls to the ground. And he falls into the water screaming as his metal armor, his shield, and his heavy longsword drag him into the murk. You hear heavy footsteps on the wooden boardwalks behind you. And if you were to turn and look, you would see a band of about 30, 33, 34 soldiers, orcs, dwarves, elves running towards you.
Pick up the letter and just scarper. We can't fucking defeat that. Yeah, I'm just gonna try and grab this letter and then just get out. Try and help the other people on the boat.
I'm guessing everybody else gets on the boat.
Yeah, I'd probably like as he makes contact with the spine, you just kind of lean down, grabbing this knife or dagger of Darius, is just kind of like pull it out, slicing as I go, and running towards the boat. You know, looking back behind me, seeing these guys, like, no way, not today.
Okay. Yeah, you guys make it into the boat. I'm gonna need everybody to make me strength or just strength checks to get this boat hauling.
All right. And as Darius grabs back onto the steering pole, I am if I need to, I'm gonna action surge this because I do not want to be slow. I don't care about the ribs at this point. Just fast, get out of here.
Okay. Everybody go ahead. Everybody who grabs an oar, you can have 4 people rowing. Make me strength checks.
I think this is my ace die at this point because it rolled me another natural 17.
Ooh.
Which turns into a modified 20.
I wish I had enough dice to have an ace die.
I have
Wow, my dice are actually really ace too. Like I just got 2 nat 20s in a row. Okay, so Ithar just starts hauling. Like she grabs 2 oars, like an Olympic rower. Sebastian just like standing in the back, just like making like car noises as you just start peeling away. And everybody like, so at least you guys got enough people to succeed where you guys actually start like moving away from the dock pretty quick. So because 3 of the 4 of you succeeded, they're only going to get 1 shot of longbow fire at you guys before you're too far into the trees. So I need everybody on the boat to make me a deck save.
Ace die, do not hit me now. I'm the one freaking roll.
So your target number, the one number you guys were going for. Oh yeah, you guys both definitely failed. Was it 12? So anyone who failed is going to take damage. Anyone who succeeds is not. Okay, so everybody who failed, take 5 points of damage.
Guess who's out?
I think I just dropped 2 of you guys again, right? Fulgrim and okay. So go ahead. You can roll on that, and we'll figure out that after the game. But you guys start moving away from the town. You guys getting out of there, and yeah, you guys make it away from Dakta. They're going to try and catch you, but you guys have a definite head start. Emran is going to do he's going to stabilize both of you. He's trained in medicine. And you both awaken to a jolt as the arrow is ripped out of your respective wounds.
Should have did that while they were unconscious, Emran.
Oof. He kind of just looks back at you with a withering look. Like he did, but it woke them up. Should have done that while they were unconscious, Emran. You suck. Shut up.
Oh, fuck. This is worse than a hangover. Fuck. Couldn't you be more gentle, man? Jeez.
Fulgrim, here. Drink this. Pull out another slimy little vial of liquid that you've seen me pass on to 2 of the other party members. They can't drink any because they've had their fill for the day, but you have not had your patented Sebastian's healing drought.
Yeah, it just
Darius at this point
just greedily gulps down that butt bacon drink.
Popping 5 for you. Nobody else can have it now until a long rest.
I imagine Darius kind of just face down in the boat, having had that arrow removed from his back, and just groans. I do not want to get used to this.
Well, we made it, guys.
The paper is rough in your hands, Fulgrim, as you clutch it.
Oh, at least I managed to grab this. Sort of just waves it. He's sort of almost lying face down, just not wanting to move, and he just sort of waves it above his head. Someone just... Oh, God, take this. Just try and, like, put it in Sebastian's lap before, like, just facing into the boat, not wanting to move.
Sebastian would take it and, I guess, pull it out and read it.
And as you lift the paper up, the handwriting on it is very messy. And the first words you read are, "Dear Daddy." And that is where we'll end the session.
I hate you, Tyler. I hate you.
I'm gonna write back to that child and say, "Dear child, I killed your dad," and then just leave it at that.
Would you include the seal of the convocation in your letter, though?
Oh yeah.
I killed your father, child.
Gotta make more enemies, you know.
Gotta be special about it. Gotta be.
No, I'm gonna write the name of the big white orc guy. Sign it that.
So we're gonna end with a cold close. And essentially what this is in my games, I like to end sometimes with kind of a glimpse of something that you guys wouldn't see unless you were there. But this time, we are on the edge of the town of Dakta, where they're bringing the large barges around with the oarmen. And you see standing on the edge of the dock this great white orc who kind of stands staring out into the swamp. In his hand, he holds a bloody axe, which he is honing with a whetstone. He turns it over in his hand and turns it the other way. Where were they hiding? You see several of the orcs surrounding him. We don't know, but we'll find the traitor. He nods, go. I will hunt these ones myself. And he steps down into the center barge as it starts making its way across the water. He fumbles with something for a second. A pouch on the inside of his jerkin. And he pulls it out and opens it. And inside of the pouch are convoker symbols carved from the tunics, from the clothing of initiates, wardens, envoys, chaplains. And on the very top, the symbol of a wing commander. He slides them around. I've got space for 4 more. Seals the bag, puts it back inside of his chest, inside of the pocket on the inside of his jerkin. And looks back at the orcs behind him. Release the hunters. And turns back to the water, to the fog. And that is one this session. All right, this was session 2, Shadows of the Ancients, titled The Pale Hunter. These are my great players. Thank you everyone for playing tonight. Final words, comments?
What a brutal session. No, I'm just kidding. That was amazing, Ty. Holy crap. That was some seriously intense moments. Thanks for the game. The only complaint I have is that it took too long to have it. And hopefully with session 3, we can get it a little bit sooner in here and get dealing with these hunters and Kalash, Bloodfist, the Pale Hunter. Hopefully I didn't mess up his name.
I've been having. All right, so that was weird. What just happened for me? But, anyways, similar to the last session, I'm gonna plug somebody else. This game is based on one played by, run by Matt Click from Fistful of Dice, who's one of the people from Absolute Tabletop. Great RPG supplements, and all the YouTube channels associated with it are top notch. And they right now have their first Kickstarter going on for Adventure Kit Oath of the Frozen King. If you haven't checked that out, I very highly recommend it. I don't have it yet, of course, but everything they've put out is really great, high quality stuff, and I've got no reason to doubt this will be one more thing to top their best. So, yep. Go ahead and check that out.
Anyone else? Go ahead and plug your channels, whatever you want to right now, too.
I'm not going to bother plugging mine. Yeah, it was a just fantastic session. Sub to Tyler if you haven't already. Puts out some great stuff. You need to make some more videos, man. Just get on that. But yeah, I can't wait to continue playing Fulgrim, running away with his beard between his legs. And it's just going to get worse for him as he's now out of alcohol. So it's only a problem when he runs out. But yeah, can't wait for next time.
Yeah, so he's not going to plug his channel, but I'm going to. Check out Two Guys Team D&D. Great channel. Great. Lionel and Harry run a great channel over there. Also, check out Ginger Ninja Shish, my boy, Chris Villeneuve. His stuff's awesome, too. He runs lots of modules on there. Go ahead, plug yourself, too, Chris. I mean, I know you want to.
Oh, no, man. If Harry's not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. But if you were, by chance, looking to check out a Storm King's Thunder campaign run-through, and you were wondering what Fantasy Grounds also was like, well, if you ended up on my channel, you might find all that and more.
Oh, I don't know if I want to know what else is on there, dude. But yeah, again, I'm Tyler from On a Roll. This is session 2 of our Convoker campaign with these great players. They are now being hunted by Kalash Bloodfist, has been said, and we shall see what happens in session 3. As always, I hope you find yourselves in your games on a roll.